Many are grieving and deeply wounded.
My outlook in life is now more on what's
For
ahead
those
for
who've
me, but
gone
not
with
here.
no
More of
goodbye,
what's out there.
we've
With the
tried
Lord, it's more of
to
not seeing is
laugh
believing,
and
but believing
cheer and
first.
cry
And
Mhm.
then you begin to
for the
see. You
selfless
see things that nobody
void.
else will.
Well, can you heal us and make us whole again?
The Gary V. Hello and welcome to So Janelle. It's been what, years?
It has been years. I mean, like, wow. Let's take people back in time when I remember seeing you doing, sportscasting for what was it, the college games or the professional basketball?
I did a little bit of everything
Oh,
except for NCAA. So no,
yeah.
except for except for UAAP. So I did NCAA and then
Okay. The
PPL.
PBL, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah,
The
I pretty
PBA.
much did everything except for UAAP,
Yeah. And everybody, I just need to make you know
right?
that when she would be the one giving all the sports casting and all, that's one thing that drew people to watch the games too. Because you had this
Oh,
vibrant girl who knew everything she had to say. She knew all the facts or everything. And you did a great job. You were doing a great job
oh,
back then.
thank you. I
Yeah.
have a picture that I'm going to post to promote our interview. I think that was in 2000 and when you were here and you visited the old show in the studio. I
Yes, yes, yes. I remember. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Oh my
right?
gosh.
I have
Was
kept
that
that.
2007?
Was that I think somewhere around there? Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Okay, okay.
So but I'll post it later and then I'll tag you. And then I think that was the last time,
The last time. You're right. That was the last time. That was it.
right?
And I just follow you online, and that's when I'd see you. So that's it.
Right. But I think that was no. You know what? No, that was around 2010
Okay.
because I remember I was going through my personal struggle. Remember that? And then I remember you came to me and you were very encouraging. So thank you for that. But
Wow, you're most welcome. You're most welcome.
right. And so I'm very thankful that you're here with us today because I know that everyone's been affected by the pandemic.
Yeah.
I know that you also had a scare. Tita Angeli also was affected. Can you tell us through that? How have you been through this pandemic?
Okay. I mean, from the very get-go of the pandemic, it's not just the pandemic that I had to face, but also the shutting down of ABS-CBN, which basically was where I did all my work. But then somehow we were able to go through we were able to do some fundraisers, and we were able to raise a substantial amount of money. It's not just me, no, but everybody who did donate, and we did several of these shows, and I'm so happy that was the turnout. Of course, if Angeli was here, she'd give you the facts and the details of how much exactly. So things were okay, and then ABS started to come back into the picture. And you know what I enjoyed at that time was that everywhere I went, because I mountain bike all the time, and I have a mountain bike, but I usually take it on the road where I see a lot of people. Actually, they were following the protocols, Janelle. Everybody's in a mask, everybody's in a shield, and I was like, this is something I wish more people would notice, that the Filipino can follow directions and follow instructions, and then the numbers started to come down, and then so things started lightening up, and then some establishments were opening up, and still even in the establishments they were following the protocols. And then that went on for quite a bit. There was talk of the possibility of concerts coming back on a smaller scale, which we thought would not happen, until 2022, 2023. But now, with everything that's transpired, with all the numbers rising, it's not just the numbers rising, Janelle, but every day I get 2 to 3 calls of people I actually know who are struggling and are in tents outside of the hospitals because there's no more room in the hospitals. There actually is room in the non-COVID ward, but you
Right.
can't take a COVID patient to a non-COVID ward. So, but everything is out there, and lives are being lost and all. So our adjustment since that time has been, we've just had to ride the wave, and hopefully the wave won't be too high or too hard for us to ride. Like surfing,
Mhm.
And the thing that got me was when we had tests done here at home, um, the PCR, which is the most accurate one, and I was negative, and everybody else here was negative, except for three people that when they conducted, actually, they conducted the tests, and then they found two people were positive, and then they decided, wait a minute, if that family has two people in the household have that are positive, let's do a rerun with the existing whatever they had, no,
Yeah.
and the existing samples that they already had. And then when they had a rerun on Tita Angeli's um, samples, that's when she was found to be positive. So me, I was like, oh, can they have a rerun on me? And I was still negative, you
Right.
know. And then we were trying to trace where it came from, and we could not trace. And they said it's usually like that when there are two in the family that have it. It's very hard to trace because I was exposed together with
Right.
my assistant at work to somebody who was, but I didn't get it. He did, and I didn't even have my mask on because I was putting my makeup, and the person came in fully covered, and it was only a 5 to 7 minute exposure,
Oh, wow.
and that's it. They say it takes 15 minutes for something to really, go across, and the guy who was with me, my assistant, was with a mask and a shield, but
Oh,
he got it. I
yeah.
didn't. Not to say that I'm not going to wear it anymore, no, but of
Right.
course I'll need to be wearing it. So when I found out that she was positive, what else can you do? But really just close your eyes and say, okay, I know you got this. I've been through so much before, and you've never let me go, and I don't think this is going to be the first time, or there probably never will be a time that you won't see me through it. So I just lift her up to you, and I did. And she went through it, and she got out of it. It was hard, because you're in the same house, but you can't see each other. And then when she comes out, everybody's out of the way. And the only thing that she was allowed to do was to go out into the open air for the early morning sun.
Right.
I
Ah,
had to invest in which is not here yet, but I invested in a huge industrial fan so
yeah.
that it blows wind in and out of the house, just so that we have some air moving. But these are just the things that um, we have to do, to cope with what may be around for a couple of years pa.
Few things. The first one, why did you get tested? Was it because somebody you knew, so you thought you were exposed? Was that because of you, or was she showing symptoms?
So we had three people in the house that had it, no, but none of them showed any symptoms. They showed initially,
Right.
and then after 10 days, through the 10 days, it just deteriorated, and they didn't have any feeling of any symptoms anymore. The reason why I was tested is because anytime I go to work,
Ah,
test.
yes.
And then the funny thing is, we call her Yaya Myra because she's been the Yaya of Kiana ever since she was a kid. Ever
Yes.
since Kiana was a kid,
Mhm.
she tested positive, but she left the house kasi. But
Oh,
when she was tested on the only day that she left the house was when she was tested. So it wasn't enough time for anything to incubate. So
right.
we were saying, so where did she get it from? It's like that's why it was very hard to trace.
Right, right. And then the second thing was you mentioned that, like, first of all, thank thank God that you didn't get it because you have underlying condition, right? It would have been more dangerous for you to have gotten it. And secondly, I follow both of you online and I see how it brought out the sweetness in your family. It brought out the creativity in the kids in like sending her love.
Yeah,
It's just I think that with despite so many losses, we already also have gains from the pandemic, right?
yeah,
But
you're
we
right.
yeah, but we also don't want to like mislead people. It is something dangerous,
It
and
is.
you've gone through so much, Gary. You mentioned that earlier, and you know how to deal with it. But what do you say to people who are at a loss right now? Because loss of lives, loss of jobs, loss of income.
Yeah.
Um, what do we say to them?
Okay. maybe what I can let people know is that it's in my case, when I went through my challenge, my bypass and the cancer and my kidney, um, it was a 1-2 punch because I was on top the operating table on May 3 and June 13, because that was the one for this, and then they found out I had cancer, and that's what took place. But in that journey, um, there was one thing that I realized, and that is, it is at this time that that God really works in ways that you cannot explain, you may not ever understand, but because of His depth of love, which nobody can, it's unfathomable, and nobody can actually comprehend. It's we are alive at this time today to face this. It doesn't mean that He's going to deliver us from it, but He's going to see us through it. And going through it with Him, it's a journey that's so personal that in between that journey, He'll speak to you, He'll give you words of encouragement. He may even warn you of, what's up ahead, but there's always that peace that transcends, the understanding that just you have in you, and that's what I had in me. So there I was. Doctor tells me, okay, you have a good heart. Your heart is like that of a 20-year-old, and you're okay, and your wound is healing. But let's find out what's going on with your lungs, okay? Because I know you have some water in the lungs. So I went to have my CT scan done, and when I came back, he says, the water in your lungs, 30% of all patients go through that. It's called pleural effusion, and you have it, and it's going to go. But what concerns me, Gary, is what's happening on the right. So I said, what's happening with the right side? Okay, you see that black mark over there? That's your kidney. And PARDS is like pare. PARDS, you have cancer in your kidney. I was like, and Angeli was looking at me, and she knew my face. You couldn't tell what I was feeling. I was just like, and of course I had to go through it. I had to tell my children. I up to now, I sometimes I get emotional when I speak of their reactions because they didn't say anything. It's just all in the eyes. When I told Paolo, being the eldest, and then I told Gab, and I told Kiana, and then I had to tell my colleagues in the industry because there was no certainty. There was no certainty, which I think is happening now to many of us. We're struggling with uncertainty, which leads to anxiety, which leads to fear, and at that time, there was no certainty that I would ever be able to come back. And even if I did come back, could I still move? Could I still at least do a little bit of this and that? But through it all, Jannelle, there was peace. There was peace in knowing in whose hands I was. And it didn't matter what was around me. I just knew where I stood. Now, of course, people watching now might say, yeah, but you don't know my problem financially and this and that. I don't. But He does. And because his level of good goes beyond our understanding of what good is all about. So He will see you through. In fact, His word has warned us that in this world you will have troubles, but take heart because I have overcome the world. Yeah, but what does that have to do with me? You will find out. Yeah, but I don't see it. How can I believe it? With the Lord, it's more of not seeing is believing, but believing first. And then you begin to see. You see things that nobody else will. That people will start coming up to you and say, how are you doing it? Dude, you don't even have a job and all, but you're still smiling. You're still able to. Yeah, because I know whose hands I'm on, and He's not going to, if anything comes, He'll just protect me. And that's what He did. So they opened me up. They took the cancer out. I have 70% of my kidney left with me. On my right, my left is absolutely okay. And since that time in 2018, I've been cancer-free. And I believe, I'll say this, okay? I believe, should they find something else going on in me? There's diabetes na, di ba? There's hypertension and bypass. But if they find another thing in me, I'm all in His hands. So He's got everything orchestrated. And I know people don't like talking about death because there's been a lot. But why is it that I'm not I'm not afraid. You know, I my outlook in life is now more on what's ahead for me, but not here. More of what's out there. You know, now, of course, a lot of people will not think the way I do, and I really understand that. But when push comes to shove, God is going to create any and every way to make sure that in a journey that is as crazy as it is, uh, He's going to give you an opportunity to find Him. There may be steps that you might have to take, but it's not steps that you can't bear, and it's not steps that will take away from you. And if certain things are taken away, they may be things that you may not really need in order to get to where you're supposed to be. But because of His goodness and His faithfulness, He'll do it even if at times we don't believe, and even if at times we doubt, and even if at times we question. That doesn't surprise Him. So I would suggest, for people who are struggling financially, for people who are struggling with health and all, just come to Him as you are. There's no need to try and show something that you're not. You know, you can come to Him, and you can even come to Him and say, I've never believed you, so I'm taking this chance now, and I'm just going to ask you to whatever they say. And then you wait and watch, because He's that kind of a God.
Coming from you, it's very powerful, and I can understand. I've been through other things as well, and I know what you mean. Even when it's difficult, even when it's heartbreaking, and you're gutted and you're in pain, there is peace. And when there's peace, you know that that's coming from Him.
Yes,
I,
there's no way you can face some of these challenges on your own,
Right, right.
right?
And feel that peace. Yes, you'll be sad. Yes, you'll be heartbroken. Yes, you'll be all that, but then there's peace.
Yeah.
And right? And I like when you encourage people to come to Him, because He is the only one that can make us whole again.
You come
Which
to Him as you are. Your broken pieces, He'll put it together. And when He restores, okay, this I have to say, when God restores, He doesn't restore you to what you were before. He always restores beyond that. Yeah, but I lost somebody in my family. I'm not downplaying that. But when He restores you to Him. And that's when you lost a son, you lost a daughter. It's going to be painful for some time.
Mhm.
And the tears are going to flow. And it's going to challenge you in many ways as to what life is all about. Why was I born? Sana mina lang. And these are all valid feelings. But when you don't lose your focus, He will do things in ways only He can. Not even my words can encourage you enough to how He is actually going to work in your life. That's the kind of God I'm speaking about. Now, there may be other gods out there, but this is the God that has proven Himself to me since the time that I was born. I was not supposed to be here. Doctor told my dad, my dad's a photographer kasi. Doctor told my dad, "Sir, your son is a post-mature baby. He's been inside his mom's tummy for 10 months, not 9." So I had so much poisons going through me. And when I came out, I was put in an incubator. And the doctor told my dad, "Sir, you have a camera with you. If you want to take a picture of your son, you better take it now, because he probably won't be with us till tomorrow." So my dad,
Right.
and it's in my book, actually. I have a Gary V book, and you'll see a small picture there. That's the picture my dad took. And so since that time, up to now, the diabetes, I was given an average lifespan of 40 years from diagnosis. And I was diagnosed when I was 14. I'm 56 now.
Right, right.
I'm breaking this, what science says. I'm breaking all of the studies, and that's not me. That's all Him. Yeah, but Gary, you work out, and yeah, I think everybody should, diabetic or not. But I'm a diabetic,
Right.
and my eyes are still okay. My voice is okay. My nerve endings are fine. I mean, these are some of the symptoms that come with the type 1 diabetic. Um, and with a diabetic comes a lot of things that we have to spend on, the insulin, the medications, the checkups, the gadgets and all. It's a lot of stuff, a lot of financial needs for things like this. So I'm just sharing this with everybody out there, no? Because I know that some of you are watching me now, hoping to grasp something. And if I believe that the people who are watching right now, I would compare them to good soil, and I'm just planting good seed on good soil. It doesn't, not every, not every tree that produces good fruit grows instantly. You have a banana tree that grows like in months. You have a coconut tree that grows in 7 years, but that's probably one of the healthiest fruits that anybody can come across is the coconut. But it takes 7 years for that to grow. So I'm just planting good seed on good soil because I believe in the principle that if you do that, you only produce good fruit in time.
Right, right. I love everything that you've said so far. I like also the fact that you mentioned about believing first, right? Because that's faith, believing first before you see.
Yeah,
And that's what we celebrated recently during Easter. We're still
yeah.
celebrating, we're still in that Easter season, but that's also when you premiered your new song.
It's a storm that and rain that we are all facing. Carrie, just sing it for the entire nation. I wanted it to be more like a prayer than a performance.
So we will sing in the storm, and we will dance in the rain.
Congratulations on that, but also thank you for bringing such an inspiring song for us.
Actually, it took 1 year because originally I wanted to write a song for all of us at ABS that lost jobs, no? Because from 11,800 employees or so, we're down to a thousand plus left. So it's really a skeletal team that's left. And although ABS has been able to come back a bit in ways, that's another thing, in ways we never thought. You know, there's a tie-up with TV5 now. When in the history of television, Philippine television, has that ever happened?
Mhm.
It's never happened before.
Mhm.
So what was taken away was big, but what was given was much bigger.
Mhm.
So when I wrote this, I wrote it for that. But then things started changing. Um, the whole COVID pandemic started changing, and I couldn't get myself to finish it until the numbers this year of the second wave started to rise,
Mhm.
and then the stories that we would receive from people we know.
And when the waves leave us battered on the broken roads we've got to take, may we walk the way that leads to you. May it be the choice we make.
So that's what inspired me to write the song. And when I finished it, I was thinking, okay, let's arrange it like this. Let's put this and let's put that and let's put a guitar here and all that. But when I was hearing it, I said, no, Gary, it's the message that's most important. So keep it simple. Put a little bit of your ideas, but keep the message as simple and as plain as can be that everyone can understand. And that's how it turned out. And it was done here in this studio. I remember one time it was like 3 a.m. and I went up. I called Angeli. It was she had COVID,
I
and
saw that. I saw that on Instagram, I think. But go ahead, go ahead. Share the story.
she
Right,
had COVID, so I couldn't yank her down here to hear the song. So I
right.
texted her and I said, "Honey, are you awake?" Yeah, but I'm going to sleep now. Wait, you want to hear the song? Yeah, okay. Then when I called her, I said, "Okay, you have headphones?" Yeah, but it's there. Go get it. Huh? I'm in bed now. I said, no, you just get it. Just get it. So I had to guide her through everything that she had to press to make sure that she hears the song close to, it was just a demo. It wasn't yet the finished product. But I
Mhm.
wanted her to hear the idea,
Right.
to capture the idea because I didn't want her to hear and say, I didn't hear your voice there. Eh. No, your voice is too loud there. And I said, no, Han, listen, it's just a demo. Okay,
Right.
so no comments, nothing. Just tell me after. So she was listening to it like that. Then after, I just heard her say, "How nice, hon." And I
Oh.
said, "Okay, that's it." I said, "I'll be done in a few days, hon. I'll be done in a few days with this." And
Oh.
of course, I would struggle with my own flesh, which was,
Right.
"Oh, you should put this and you should put that. No, you should change this part and put maybe a drum, a bass." And I was like, no. So it took time. Sometimes I'd spend hours upstairs watching TV, but while I'm watching TV, half of my brain is like, no, you should put it. No, you shouldn't put it. It's like the good angel and the devil going, you should put it. And the angel's going, no, you shouldn't. So I
Right.
came down, And finally, when it was done, even the lyrics were done and finished on the day I was about to mix it already. That's
Oh.
it. I said, wait. Maybe instead of this line, I can put this line instead. So I got my microphone again. I had to make sure that my voice was the same quality as it was days before, because your
Right.
voice changes. Eh. So I made sure I recorded it at like 2 in the afternoon, which was the same time I recorded the main bed. And I was able to change a line or two, not the tone, but
Mhm.
the lyrics itself. And when that was done, I remember Joshua asking me, Tito, do you have the lyrics? And I'm like, I didn't write it down, the final, because it was all here. So
Right.
then he just transcribed it when he heard it, and then he put it out.
Now you're challenging me to go back and listen to the song and figure out what line that was.
Okay, there's a line there that goes, uh, and we will sing, and we will pray in the rain. Uh, no, our hearts won't tire, our faith's on fire, and we know our cries are heard from deep within. There's a line there where I go, we know our tears are in the hands of the one. That was last minute. That was last minute.
So two things, you know, when you mentioned that no, you should do this, or no, you shouldn't, or you should, like a lot of people go through that, right? Because it's our internal like check and balance, like do
Yeah.
this, not do this. How do you know which one is coming from the angel or which one is inspired by God?
What I do is, at least with my music, I'm not saying that this is what's to be done with others, no, but this is just a creative thing that I go through. I let it be. I let the song hang. I
Right.
put the idea in and I just let it be. Because I'll keep on, wait. And then what I do is I let it be, as in, leave it, Gary. Go do something else. Work out, sleep. I mean, don't even touch it for a day. Then I come down and then I just hear it. Oh, wow, that sounded good. That's it. That's the one. Once I start
Right.
going into the nitty gritty of how it should have been done, then there's a tendency to become too technical with it. Instead of it becoming an emotion, it becomes more of a performance, which I didn't want that. I didn't want that for this song. I wanted it to be more like a prayer than a performance. And I think somehow we succeeded in doing that, even with my version of Take Me Out of the Dark, the live and raw version, which is what really started it all.
Mm.
Last year, at about this time, I recorded Take Me Out of the Dark, live and raw, one take. I just told them, I said, here, set up the camera and let's do this. Yeah, but Tito, you can't be seen. It's just your silhouette. That's exactly how I want it. Let's take this. Just what is it in me? And it came out that way. And when I saw all the other reactions from around the world, Janelle, it just made me realize, yeah, how can you not see God written in that? It's like he just said, Gary, this is what I've called you to do at this time. What the enemy thought he could do by taking your life because of your bypass and your cancer, I'm using you and to give life to people who are lost and dead and broken and discouraged. And
You,
I think that's what's happening now.
you know, you've given so much and you still do. You give so much to the world. Your life is a prayer, your life is an inspiration to everyone. Plus, the brilliance of your creations, your songs, the lyrics, the melody, everything, right? What are you most proud of?
I don't know if pride is something that I have in me, but thankfulness is what I have more, and gratitude that there are people who are really impacted by what I put across. Um, One time I was speaking to a dear friend. He's a pastor friend of mine, and he goes in Tagalog. He says, "Alam mo, Gary, bago pa tayo nagkita, nakilala na kita eh." I said, "Really, Pastor? How?" "Through your songs. Your songs speak not about what people are going through, but what you're going through. In nagkataon na other people are going through the same thing, so they can easily relate. But yeah, if you want to know me, listen to my songs. I mean, some of them are really heartbreaking and all, but I think all of us go through moments like this. Um, so when people ask me what of my songs is my favorite, I tell them they really all are, because it depends on where I'm at and what I'm facing at that time. I have a song called Break Me, which actually I also recorded and put out online. But it's really telling the Lord, na, mold me and make me. Can you find me in this world I'm lost in and never let me go? Hold me and mold me. And if there's no other way to make me whole, then go ahead and break me, but remake me. Holding on, I won't give up, because I know you won't give up on me. So, even just saying the lyrics alone, it gets to me, because how many people now are broken? How many people can associate themselves with that storyline? But yeah, I'm thankful just for the people out there. Jannelle, I don't have the biggest numbers online. I don't have millions of followers on YouTube. And when I post something, I'm thankful, 100,000 people watch it or so or more. But if 100,000 people watch and nobody gets hit, it's just a number. But when you read the comments, which I actually respond to every so often, that's where the reward really is. And that's what I'm thankful for. That's what I'm proud of, because I'm making an impact in somebody's life. Somebody who is so unworthy, to receive what I've gotten. Because a lot of people look at me and think, oh, he's such an angel. And
Right.
I am not, Jannelle. I have my difficulties. I have my own struggles.
Right.
And there are things that I need to fix up still. A lot of things I need to fix up in me. But I'm thankful that with God, it's never about our performance, but more of our persistence of being in the pursuit of His excellence. And that's, for me, that's what's most important at this point in time of my life.
And I like that what you said, impact, because we really have to focus on that. Because right now and in the last few years, social media has put so much focus on influence. And you're right. If only one person is inspired or gets the message of what we're trying to what do you call that? Send
To
out.
send out, yeah.
Right? Yeah. Then we've made a difference, right?
I'll share with you one thing that took place in an interview I had in a particular radio station here in Manila. I walked into the studio. Okay. Now, the song Take Me Out of the Dark had already been out for like 20 years. Okay. And I was there,
Yes.
and he had the microphone. It was a live interview. And he goes, uh, folks, we have a very special in-studio guest, and we'll be with him after a few reminders. So he played the commercials, and he looks at me and he goes, Gary, because of you, I'm alive today. I used to be a womanizer. I used to take a lot of drugs, and I would drink. So one time my wife said, you come home like that one day, and I'm leaving you. And I came home one day like that. I came home and was like, hey, looking for my wife, and she had gone. But it wasn't just her. She took everything, including my kids. Everything, the couch, everything. She just
Oh,
left.
wow.
So
Okay.
he was so, what in Tagalog they call bangag or high.
Yes.
And he went up to
Hi.
his room. He opened up his drawer. He pulled out a 45 caliber, cocked it, and pulled the trigger. And then he looks at me. He goes, Carrie, among all the guns that I've ever handled before, because I guess he's a shooter and all, the 45 caliber never locks up, never jams.
Okay.
It's known for that, but it did. So I put the gun down. I went into my car, and I thought, let me just drive on the highway and drive as fast as I can, and let me just end it all now.
Okay.
He got into his car and he zoomed. Then he was looking like that. And at that time, uso pa, or it was still part of our lives, having a CD player in the car.
Yes.
And so he looks down and he sees my CD sticking out like this, it was sticking out from the tray. And he remembered his wife often telling him, listen to song number 7 or 8 or something like that. It was the song Take Me Out of the Dark. So he puts it in. Now, mind you, he's telling me all of this while the commercials are being
This is
played.
right. Yeah.
Then he said, so what I did, bro, is I put it back in. I listened to the song, and that's why I'm here today.
Wow.
And then we're back with Gary Valenciano, and I'm like,
All right.
yes,
Right.
it's good seed planted on good soil. As to how it's planted, I don't know. But I gave I gave myself willingly to be used this way. When everybody said, "What? You're going to do songs that speak about God? Is it the hallelujah, hallelujah, praise the Lord kind of thing?" And I said, "No, not necessarily. I just want to sing songs about Him. And that's something that I feel that I want to do. I'm not being forced to do it." In fact, it got to the point when I would be conscious now I have to come up with a new pop love song or pop thing. I would sit down and the lyrics I would write would always be pointing toward Him. So I knew that this is what I'm called to do.
Right.
Um, and so those are some of the testimonies that I have with that song. You know, I mean, at least with not just with that song, but with what I've been given to
Mm.
do, what I've been given to share with people everywhere.
I love that. But you also mentioned something earlier about being broken, about brokenness, right? And you also talked about, you gave us a glimpse of how, like, I've seen that, how you and Tita Angeli are as a couple. And I put the one and one together because there's a lot of families that are also broken. There's a lot of marriages that have been broken. The quarantine, staying with each other like 24/7, especially here in the States, I have like family lawyers, friends who are family lawyers. They're busy right now processing divorces because through the quarantine period, couples have realized that they can't live with each other, right? And so, may I ask for advice for those that are going through
Oh,
problems, because you guys have stuck it through together through everything.
well,
And
you know, Janelle, the situation in the US is different from here. Like for example, us, we have house help that
yeah,
basically, I know there's a lot of people say that, yeah, but that's like slavery, that's modern day slavery. In this family, we do not treat anybody as such. Okay, they live with us, they travel with us. They're
mm,
not, my kids are big. We could have easily let them go when they're no longer needed. No, we keep them with us. You need some work, you'll pay, you will pay for you. You stay here for free, you can eat the food and all, but we'll pay you and all. So that has kind of eased on our relationship. That's played a role, you know, in our marriage. Um, Being together, I was talking to a dear friend of mine, a dear, dear friend, who said, you know, Gary, you and Angeli have been together now for like 36 years.
wow.
The woman you married is
Mm,
not the same woman you have now,
mm,
nor is the man she married the same man that she had then. You
yes.
both have grown and you will continue to grow. But that's all part of it. That's all part of the dynamics of a marriage. Yeah, but you know, my husband is like this or my wife is like that. My husband has been unfaithful and all.
Mhm,
Those are grounds for separation, especially infidelity and all. But if you did come before the Lord
mhm,
and exchanged vows, please know that the vows were not just made between the two of you.
mhm,
They were made in front of the God who allowed you both to come together. Allow him to finish the picture first. I used to talk to students before, and maybe I could share it now with all of you. Good. Imagine this being a blank, which it is. That's a blank piece of
yeah,
paper. But let's say this is the canvas of your life.
right.
And God gets his paintbrush and now he starts painting on it. And you begin to fall in love. You know, I mean, you look at the picture and you look at your childhood memories. You know, you're born in a great family and all, or maybe it wasn't that great a family, but you're a cute kid and people liked you and all. How nice the colors, you know, and you see a small picture coming together and then God stops and he moves to another part of the canvas. Maybe up here. He started here, now he's moving up here. And the colors are colors you don't like. And
Mhm,
these represent the seasons that you don't like. This
mhm,
may represent even the husband you don't like. And then he begins to go elsewhere and he creates something else. But he's creating something that you don't see
get it.
in its entirety. Now,
Right.
if I may go back to the Word of God,
Mhm,
among all of his creations, it's only you, Janelle, and
mhm,
me, and Angeli, and every other couple out there, as individuals and as a couple, that are part of this statement. But he's made you and me in the image and the likeness of Christ, meaning image
mhm, mhm,
and the likeness of Christ. And if that is the case, and he is the master of our lives, that means whatever he is creating can be nothing less than a piece of himself,
Mhm.
because that will be a reflection of his likeness and his goodness. So in the end, as ugly as some of the colors may be, allow him to finish the painting first, because he is not going to come up with anything less than a masterpiece. Because if at the end of it all, you are made in his image and his likeness, that means you are meant to end up as a masterpiece.
Mhm.
What? Come on, that's too much. You don't know what my husband has done. You don't know what my wife has been like. She's been like this and like that. I know. I may be talking like this, but I know I have so much. I have so much to go uh, to in order to become the kind of husband that my wife deserves.
Mhm.
Now, I'm not going to say anything about her. Of course, I have my own complaints about her and all, but we've really gotten to moments when, and I'll be bold enough to say we've hit those moments when, ano ba, are we going to continue this marriage or not? You know,
Right.
maybe you should stay in your room first and I'll stay in mine first. We've gone through these things. Please, please know that we are in the same boat when we talk about marriage. We
Mhm.
hit the same bumps, the same blocks, the same hurdles. At times we're happy and a tree falls on our path and we both get hurt. I mean, these things do happen. I'm not making light. I'm not making light the fact that your husband may be a drunkard, or
Mhm.
he may be taking drugs, or
Mhm.
he may have another woman or women. I'm not taking light that your wife may be a gambler. I'm not taking light that, I mean, these are valid. These are things that need to be fixed up. I'm not also saying that maybe, it could be God's will that you guys are separated for a while,
Yes.
but
Yes.
give the paintbrush of your life to the hands of the man who is a master painter, because the end will be a masterpiece. If you begin to paint things on your own, yeah, but you'll always look at it and say, I should have done this instead of that. I should have done this. I should have used that color instead of this color.
Mhm.
But as crazy and as wild as what I'm saying may be, give that paintbrush of your life to him.
Mhm.
Separate for a while if you must, but
Mhm.
allow that moment and keep your mind and your heart open so that you can hear from each other. If you see that it's better that you guys are separated for a while, then let it be. But you must understand that God did not make a mistake when he brought the two of you together.
Mhm.
Maybe you feel you made a mistake, but it wasn't God's mistake. If at all, he tried to bring you both together to try and make it work out, or to try and wake you up and say, well, you tried it on your own instead of waiting for me. Look, but I'm still your God and I still love you both. And
Right.
let's try and work this out together, okay? Allow me, because if you do, I'll make wonders happen. But you have to allow me to do it and trust me in all of it.
I
And
love.
that's my advice to everyone.
Yeah, I love that. And rounding this up now, the masterpiece, right? It's not just the marriage. The world is God's masterpiece,
Yep.
and we're going through the ugly colors now. How do you think will this end, and when?
That's a good question, Janelle. I cannot tell what the future is like. I can only say that through it all, God is the same yesterday, today, and forever. When you say forever, that has to do with the future.
Mhm.
Another thing I'd like to share with people, it's found in chapter 29, verse 11 of the book of Jeremiah, where it says, I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you,
Yes.
to give you hope and a future. So he's not talking about the now, he's talking about the future. Does
Yes.
it mean that, oh, things are going to be great and we're going to be okay and all that? Yeah, perhaps, but it's going to take time. It's going to, as you can see, what's happening now. No, I think that everybody's talking about the new norm that has started in all our lives. But I'd like to think of it as perhaps this is God's way of trying to make us move into a better norm, not just a new norm.
Mhm.
We have had to change our nature because many people like to shake hands. Many
Right.
people like to hug, say thank you, give a kiss. We can't even do that now. So it's like almost telling a dog not to do what he's doing, but he's a dog, so he has to do these things, and you're teaching him to do something else. Um, so all I can say about the future is that we are living at a time that I feel has all been written down already.
Mhm.
Um, God has revealed this in the book of Revelations. I'm no prophet. I'm not a person who can see the future. But when you read the events in the book of Revelations, we're not too far away from the last few pages. So
Mhm.
I think we're living at a time such as what they call the end times. And everything that's happening now, plagues, famine,
Mhm.
wars, rumors of wars, earthquakes, all of these things were already written. Is it ever going to stop? Maybe not. But what do we do as children of God? What do we do when these things come about? If I should get COVID-19 tomorrow, what do I do? Please
Mhm.
don't knock on wood, okay? I don't want to entrust, I don't think you should entrust your life in a piece of wood.
No.
But I,
That's
you
a
know,
good, yeah,
yeah,
right.
that's what happened to me in 1985. When I
Mm.
came to know the Lord, I was looking for a piece of wood because my brother-in-law told me, okay, Gary, if you died right now, where would you go? And I was like, wait, and then, and then
Right.
I just felt, literally, I felt a hand come upon me and say, son, listen to what I have to say. And if you don't like it, then you can go knock on a piece of wood. But will you really entrust your life to a piece of wood?
Yes.
So, um, I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, but we are living at a time where we're going to see some of the greatest works of God, if we allow Him to.
Mhm.
Um, but I would challenge people, seek first the kingdom and His righteousness, and all of these things will be added onto you. You have hopes, you have desires, you have dreams, you have frustrations and anxiety and all. Seek first the kingdom of God and His righteousness, and all of these things, the things that you hoped for, the things you wanted, the things you were hoping would happen. Or maybe He might change your heart to hope for something else that
Mhm.
might even bring more joy to you in time. His way of orchestrating is very different from ours. His way of working goes against our grain. We want it like this. He says, I want that for you too. He may want the same thing for you as what you want, but he might want to give it to you in a different way. Yeah,
Mhm.
but I need it by this. I need it by, but I have something bigger and better in store for you. Yeah, but I want it this way. Okay, have it your way. And then when things fall apart, human nature is, see, I told you, I asked it from you, but you didn't give it to me. But he is, of course, a gentleman. He will never force himself into your heart. He's
Right.
just knocking. And I think now he's not even leaving our front door. He's right there
Mhm.
saying, son, daughter, child, I'm right here. I know you've struggled believing in me, but I know you're also struggling because you want to believe in something that is certain. Perhaps the only thing that is certain at this time, because there's so much uncertainty going on. Even with the vaccines and all, is there going to be, are we going to need to take another vaccine later on in a few years' time? I mean, is there going to come up with a better one that we should have taken instead of this one? So many arguments, but I'm not here for that. I'm like, listen, even if there was no vaccine that I had any access to, if I have God with me, as I know I do, I'm complete. I have what I need. Will I will I encounter trouble? Will I encounter problems? Of course I will. Nobody's perfect, so things are going to go crazy. Even if people were perfect, our climate is not.
Mhm.
So, there might be a typhoon tomorrow in the middle of summer, who knows. But I again, God is not after perfection, but isn't it nice to know that we do have a perfect God that we can serve? So even if we are not, at least we have a God who is. I wish I could say, Jannelle, I really wish I could say, oh, tomorrow's going to be great and we're going to have this and that and all. But I don't want to sugarcoat things. After this pandemic, what's next? Let's make sure that in our everyday, in our every sunrise, we know that God is already there.
Because of what's happened, he's also taught us to go back to basics, the very basics of what we really need, how to live, right? How to
Yes.
live, how to survive, right? So that's one. And then the second thing that I want to make mention is when you say, we serve the perfect God and He has the perfect plan. We may not understand it, but when it all unfolds, it's perfect. But in the meantime, and that's why your song is perfect for this time, we need to learn to sing in the storm and dance in the rain. What what do you want people to get out of this? In the end, if they were to forget everything that we've talked about and they can only remember one lesson or one thought, one nugget of wisdom from Gary V, what would you want them
I
to?
do not know. I do not know how he's going to do it, but it is part of his business
Mhm.
to heal you and to make you whole again. That's basically the bottom line.
Thank you so much. I was going to ask if you could sing. So, you know that
I don't have I don't have anything set up. Everything's closed right
I know
now.
I should have mentioned that. But anyway, I know it's me. But yes, if for those of you who haven't heard the song, and I have my phone in front of me because I need to, I want to say this and share with everyone. It's such an inspiring song. I play it over and over. I play it for my children as well. Who, by the way, just last Christmas, I was teaching my daughter to sing Pasko na Sinta Ko.
Oh, wow. One day, I can promise you this. One day, if you want, I can, just, you can, I can chat like this with you and I can just sing it for your daughter, and say,
Yes,
he's the singer of the song. And I can do that. It's no problem.
yes, and every time it plays, he goes, "Why do you like this song so much, mommy?" I go, "I reminds me of the Philippines where mommy grew up in, and the singer is a friend of mine." Oh, you know him? Like,
Yeah.
I felt very fortunate to have caught your IG live. Do you do a lot of those? Would you like to
No, I
invite me?
don't. No, okay. But to all of those who watched me, it was really nice. What I did was Janelle's talking about a time when it was, I think, past midnight na, no?
Yes, because it was early here. I was starting
Yeah.
my day, and I don't normally open Instagram in the morning.
Okay.
And that
So
day I got the notification that you were live. So I'm like,
yeah.
okay, I have to catch that.
So I was live. I don't even know. I think I was in really pambahay or something for home. I could go to sleep in, and I was here, and I was just led to to just speak to people that needed to be encouraged, because that day was really one of those days where my son was also online live, Paulo, and his work has gotten a hit. I mean, he's into live events. He's a director of live events, one of the best in the country today. Now he's got no job, so it's really difficult. And I was thinking of him actually, and I went online to join him on his show. But he says, "Dad, don't join me here. I may say things that you might not like." Out of frustration, I said, "Oh, okay, I'm getting out." So I left his his live thing, his live feed, and I just went on live, and I just sang a few songs, and I think I was able to encourage a number of people out there. And I might do that again. Now, folks, it like I didn't have my microphone. My setup was up, but I didn't have my microphone set up, and I wasn't really ready to perform and all. But I was just led to sing a couple of songs. One of which was what did I do? I think I did "Take Me Out of the Dark."
You
I
did
did
take me out of the dark. Yeah.
The Warriors a Child," and maybe I'll do it again someday. But it's all unannounced. Sometimes those are the best when it's unannounced, so
When
that
it's not
there's
scheduled,
no, yeah, so that
right?
there's no level of expectations from people, and I don't need to worry about, wait, I have to make sure that many people are on, because it's good for my numbers and all. I don't want to think of that. For me, if I go online and people catch me, those are the people who were meant to see me. If four people were on, that's it. Then those four people were the only ones meant to catch that message for that time.
Right.
And I'll probably do it again. I just don't know when. I can't promise when, but if you follow me on Instagram, you get a notification that I'm online live.
That's why you should follow Gary Valenciano, Spotify, YouTube, Facebook. That's Gary Valenciano. Twitter at Gary Valenciano 01.
Oh, you
Um,
can also check out garyv.com.
Oh, okay. All right. And that's the website as well. So garyv.com. And on Instagram, we may get, I'm praying that you get inspired again and that I'm online and that I'm awake so that I can catch you. It's amazing. It's like watching a concert and being inspired at the same time. It's like fellowship and concert, which is, by the way, I miss watching you. I've always said this, and I don't think I don't know if I've told you, yours was the first ever concert that I've watched. First,
Live concert here in Manila?
yes. My first live concert was you.
Would you know where it was? Where the concert was?
I don't remember, but I know that my ex-boyfriend
Okay.
got tickets through his dad.
Okay, wait. Do you know what year that was? No, because if it's a major concert, I will know which concert it was.
It was at the Araneta Coliseum.
What year was
About
that? Like,
what year? 2000 and no, 1990. I think about around 2000 maybe, or 2001.
okay, if it was 2000 or 2001, that was the concert called Radical at the Araneta Coliseum.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's the one. Oh,
Yeah.
wow. Get that concert. No, I kind of know each concert, each major concert has always had very big impact on me. So yeah, that was the Radical concert, 2000, 2001. Yeah.
Right.
Thank you so much.
No, thank you for the inspiration. Thank you for making time. Thank you for this interview, and just thank you for everything. And thank you for the
Anytime, my
friendship,
friend.
and
Anytime.
thank you.
I thank you that you've given me time also to reach out people this way, because they usually see me singing and talking a bit, but like this is all talk. So basta, if ever I'm online live again, I'll let you guys know. Or if ever I have an online concert, I'll let you guys know too. You'll know about it, because that's what we're planning to do. Come up with some concerts online soon.
Right. No, I forgot to ask that. One last question. What's on the horizon for you? So online concerts?
Okay, there are a couple of things. Before that, because we're on lockdown again here in the Philippines, at least in this area, Manila and the metropolis. We were planning for a series of shows, like 4 shows, like what I used to do back in the day when I would, what they call puesto, where you would go to a how would you call it, a bar, or bar, and I would perform in a bar. Like I have 2 sets and all. So we were thinking of doing a 4-night series of shows with different concepts per night.
Oh, okay.
And then one big major concert, which would have been my major concert for the year, and it's going to be called Pure Energy. And it's going to be an inspirational concert. So it's going to be like an hour, 2 hours of nothing but that, hopefully to encourage people also. We'll see, I'll let you know, but it's going to be held here lang at home, because I can't go out for now,
Right.
But we're preparing. I have some ideas whipping up inside my head, and I'm hoping that we can execute it the way I see it in my head.
Right. I'm sure it will be inspired, and we will look forward to that. Like we've been saying, guys, follow on social media so that you know when these things are going to happen.
Right.
Thank you so much once again, and God bless you. God bless you more and more and more.
God bless you and your family too. Take care, Jannelle.